fighting for me and keep showing your love and support.
Hi, welcome to Brendan Talks. I'm Becca, we've got Alice and Linda. How are you guys doing today?
Hey, doing good.
Yeah, doing okay. Yeah. Hi, everyone.
Yeah. So we're going to kind of like change pace a little bit. I thought we would read like 30 minutes of day 2 in the Len Kaczynski thing, and then we'll do like a little Q&A. I only see 2 people so far watching us live, so hopefully more people will show up, and then we can do that Q&A. If not, then no worries. We'll just continue reading and giving our opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right, Linda, though. There is a bit of a delay. I've noticed that. Oh, now we have 5 people. See, so people are starting to come in. But yeah
it's a big delay. I mean, you're halfway through your intro and Brendan starts talking before it comes on to YouTube.
Oh, so wow.
It is really that slow. I noticed it the other day too in Foul Play. So I've been watching to see what delays it so badly. There's Nosy, but she won't
I hear an echo. Are you playing in the background?
No, I'm muted. It's just probably my microphone and stuff. I'm at my dog.
Oh, okay.
So
that's fine.
Yeah.
Hi, Nosy. Hi, Susan. So like I said in the beginning, we'll read about 30 minutes into day 2. This is page 6 of day 2 that we're starting. Hey, Donna. And so I figured we would do about 30 minutes of that, and then we would do a little Q&A because I know it's been a hot minute since we've gone over day 1. So just in case anyone feels lost or needed a little refresher of anything. So let's get started, shall we? So yeah, like I said, it's page 6 on day 2. The post-conviction, 2010 post-conviction. If anybody wants to actually look at these documents, we have them in our Discord, and Foul Play also has them on their website. You can download it and you can read it yourself. I'll be reading from it on my paper. So actually, let me get my glasses. Why do I'm not wearing my glasses? That's a problem. No wonder things are fuzzy. There we go. All right. Back to, so I went to page 6 because courts re-adjourned and they're reading Len Kaczynski. We're still going over Meow Meow. So they were reading him back into the, swearing him back in. That's what they call it. So, continued direct examination. So, this is Attorney Dvorak who's doing the questioning. And we're still talking about O'Kelly. He says, you had initially hired O'Kelly to do a polygraph test, correct? Right? He says, correct. And you kept him on, had him continue on as your investigator in this case. Yes. Which I think if we remember correctly, yesterday in the courts, when they were talking, they were saying he kind of jumped into that position. It wasn't that he was hired to be the investigator. He just kind of assumed the role as an investigator and started putting his nose where it didn't belong, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So now we're on day 2, and now he's kind of like, yeah, we kept him on, which kind of to me tells me that there was more communication than he was leading on yesterday. You know, like, oh, we're going to keep you on to do this. When yesterday he was saying, oh, he just started doing it on his own thing, and he just went along with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how it kind of sounds like to me.
Yeah, so, but I think that was him trying not to put the blame on anybody else. You know, oh no, I wasn't really asked to do it, but I just thought I would take that on. You know, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and just to let everyone know, we're still on Len Kaczynski. I still want to go over O'Kelly's disposition and
Oh my God.
Kratz, and I think Wiegert's even in here, and Fassbender. So we'll be going through all those main characters.
Well, you better get me some
stuff,
Valium for O'Kelly, because I'll tell you what.
I'm really interested in O'Kelly's. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not only that, even though we are doing it the now and everything like that, I'm sure when the trials are finished, Brendan's trial readings and that are finished, foul play, I'll go on to do like the post conviction and the appeals and everything like that as well. I think we're going to do all the documents, say, Linda.
Yeah, probably, huh?
Yeah, we are. We're going to do anything that's Brendan, just like we did everything for Stephen. You know, it needs to be like, what is Jack's call it, memorialized, or, you know.
Yeah. It needs to be told. It needs to be out there.
In some data, so people can hear it, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot easier. You know, it's a lot easier sometimes for people to listen than to read it, you know.
Oh, let's just put it this way. You think you know the case by watching the show, but when you dig down and you hear word for word on legal documents, it changes a whole lot, and you see everything. You know what I'm saying? It's very transparent.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean.
I mean, it's the now with me, Dan, we got in that during the trial readings.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable just how bad it is. What they done to that lad, you know, you actually see it. And I mean, I felt like wanting to wash my mouth out with soap after I had read what Wiegert was saying and everything like that on the stand, and the attitude as well when it came to between the defense and the prosecution asking questions is unbelievable. And the fact that people still think to this day that Brendan had anything to do with it, it's like, what the hell are they reading and what the hell are they looking at, because they're no seeing what half the fucking world is seeing. Sorry, I didn't mean that.
Oh no, listen, I gotta say something though. You're so right. You really get to see how the state manipulates and interviews everybody they have on stand. They are like reading off of a memory chip. You can really see it. Don't you agree, Alex? I mean, Alice.
Yes.
Jesus.
Yes, you do. You actually see, whether you're listening to it or whether you're actually reading it, you actually see the nasty depths that they went to get this laddie when they had no reason to get Brendan. I mean, as we've all said, they got Stephen. Stephen was convicted. Why did they continue to go after Brendan? There was no need for them to continue to go after Brendan, but they went ahead and done it. Well, in saying that, the March 1st press conference is the reason why they still had to go after Brendan, because then it would mean that Kratz would have to backtrack. They all would. Yeah.
It would have showed their entrapment, I think. So,
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm sorry. Becca, go ahead.
You're fine. So, starting on page 6. So he was working under your direction in that capacity, and he says yes. Okay, so you were telling him that it was you that you needed done, and he would go out and do it. He said, hopefully. Which, like I said before, the day before in trial, he was basically saying O'Kelly was doing this on his own free accord, going to certain places or whatever. So, like I said, now we're getting a completely different side of the story here. Okay, he would report back to you from time to time, yes. Okay, and you monitored his activities and what it was he was doing. The best I could, yes. So, like, he wasn't even really, he was, like, half-heartedly paying attention, I guess. That's what he's saying. Okay, did you have any problems in that capacity? There were times he was going off on tangents and expanding more hours than was authorized. And so I had to do some decisions with him and his confine your activities and what we needed done. And if you kept running over this, these your hour limits don't expect to get paid unless SPD is going to authorize it. He said, okay, or all right. Subsequently, substantially,
yeah,
substantially, whatever. Though, other than financial, and you're concerned about whether your relationship with the public defender's office and they're paying his bills, were you monitoring his activities? And he said, I didn't give a general directions, as I believe you know, but possibly would be defense in the case of terms of whether I guess the alibi for a period of time in the late afternoon and early evening of October 31st. He said, okay. Although there wasn't much work done on that because law enforcement officers had already interviewed most of the key witnesses, and I had talked to him. There was also working on family matters, possible mitigations to the matter, process to sentencing, and also establishing a repertoire with the members of Mr. Dassey's extended family. Okay. What I'd like to do is confine it up to this point to May 13th, up and so through May 13th. Through May 13th. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So what's the period of time that we're talking about so far, unless we say otherwise? But I think that that's where we're going to confine ourselves to. So up through that period of time, Mr. Kelly was working for you. He was reporting back to you. Were you telling him what to do, and you're monitoring what he was doing? And he said he was my agent, yes. Okay. I want to talk about the May 12th interrogation. You knew that he was going to tape that interrogation of his, right? And then he said, I don't think I specifically mentioned it, but I know that early on he had indicated he taped everything. So I don't know if we went over the details that he was going to tape it. We might have. And he asked him, I'd like you to refer to Exhibit 65. What volume? It must be volume 2, volume 2. I have it. Okay. That's the email that we had referred to earlier that Mr. O'Kelly had sent to you about the meeting on May 12th. And that this is an email dated May 7th. Correct. And he was telling you that he wanted to bring in recording devices, right? Correct. Okay. And I assume that you had to do something to help him get that stuff into the jail. I notified the jail that he was working for the defense, and therefore that was a professional visitor, that those were appropriate things for him to bring in. Said, okay, so getting back to the question, were you aware that he was videotaping this May 12th, or he had the intention of videotaping May 12th interrogation that he did? Yes. Okay. By the way, have you ever viewed the tape that he made? No. So this is the tape. I think this is the tape that they're talking about, is the one where he's sitting there with the pictures and he makes him write out, right?
I'm not sure.
I think that is.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they discussed it in day one, and so these are basically re-going over the same questions that they did in day one. Because they went over some of this stuff already in day one, and they were talking about how I guess they're basically trying to put in the judge's mind that Len Kaczynski planned this whole entire May 12th thing. But they couldn't play it. So yesterday, or yesterday in court, they couldn't play that video.
Yeah.
But Len Kaczynski's claiming he never saw it, the video. All right. Were you aware, for example, were you aware at all of how he was going to do about that interrogation? Did you discuss with him, in other words, any tactics that he was going to use? He said, well, we talked about how he had gained repertoire with Brendan over time, that he was basically going over the evidence that was there at this point, and the extent to which it showed that he was involved in Teresa's Hallback's homicide and sexual assault. And to see if, knowing how that statement was going to be admissible into evidence, that, in my opinion, at trial, he was likely to be found guilty, and from that, see whether or not he was going to change what he was telling us as to whether or not he was involved in Teresa Hallback's homicide and sexual assault. He said, all right, up until this point, is it up until Mr. O'Kelly called you on the evening of the 12th, Brendan had always maintained his innocence with you, correct? And then he said, well, he never used the word maintain innocence, but he was non-responsive to questions whether he did it or not. I think initially he broke down, of course, on that polygraph Easter week, that he was not involved in the offense, yes. So he had consistently denied involvement in the offense to you up till May 12th, including May 12th, I guess, until you got the call from Mr. O'Kelly that evening. Yeah, it was during the times the issue had been raised, yes. Okay, now, were you aware that Mr. O'Kelly had, in preparation for Brendan's arrival in the room where he was going to be questioned, that he had laid out a number of items, yeah, see, including the original poster, missing persons poster for Teresa? I do not recall him telling me that, no. He said, okay, yeah, that he had a photo of Teresa's website laying.
Can I got to interrupt you. Are we getting to the point where Len Kaczynski said he had no idea that he did this, or that they set it up? I have always wondered that. Was this?
I think what Len's basically trying to say is that he knew that the setup was going to happen, but that he wasn't aware of exactly what O'Kelly was going to do, other than try to convince Brendan to tell the truth. He said he never watched the video, which is bullshit. We all know he watched the video.
You know what? At any given point, has anybody ever had seen anywhere a lie detector person who gives it to you, whatever they're called, I don't know,
yeah,
ever set up shit like that before they did that?
No.
Well, this wasn't the lie detector test for this May 12th.
Huh?
What he's talking about, bringing in pictures and all that, that wasn't the lie detector.
Oh, okay.
That was the video that was the video that we saw in the documentary where he's sitting there, right, and he's
got the ribbon and that on the table.
My point is, he's a lie detector person. That's what O'Kelly is.
Well, that's what they're trying to say is that you have this guy who's a lie detector come in, you're paying him only $300 when a lot of people apparently at the time were paid $500, $600. So not only is he taking less money, then this guy decides that he wants to be your investigator. So then he goes off and he does shit, and he doesn't tell you that he's doing shit. Or if he does tell you that he's doing shit, you're not documented because you know this shit's not allowed.
Right.
He goes to the Avery salvage yard. Yeah, he goes to the Avery salvage yard trying to find more evidence that Brendan did something. Didn't find anything, but instead he found the blazer or whatever, and that's why they subpoenaed to go back onto the property, right? So then they were trying to say that. Then they were trying to say that, okay, well then why are you doing that and you're finding evidence for the prosecutor, right? So that's what's on day one. And then they started going into this stuff. So this is a lot of the same question repeats as what was in day one. You set up this interview with Brendan after you do the lie detector test, which we don't even know if the lie detector test was legit or not. Because let's face it, O'Kelly's an idiot. So he does this. Yeah.
He lied to his
and
lawyer,
there's this.
He lied to everybody.
So he sets up this thing with the lie detector test information and all this stuff that he pictures of the website, pictures of Teresa, pictures of the blue ribbon, pictures of the dead end sign on the property, all that stuff, sits him down at the table and gives him a test and then tells him, and that's all that we saw in the documentary. So this is just, they're basically leading up to that. They're asking Len Kaczynski if he knew about this, and he's saying he knew that the meeting was going to happen, but that he didn't realize that it was going to be like that. He never watched the videotape, whatever. We all know that's bullshit.
Yeah, yeah.
We all know that he set this up, but Glenn Kondrensky didn't officially document this stuff because he knew that this wasn't good.
Well,
that's why Len Kondrensky is doing the whole I didn't know.
Okay, and
I didn't know he was going to do that.
And again, this is post-conviction, so he's already been convicted, and what they're trying to show is that
this is 2010 post-conviction
lawyer he was, and how they fucking set him up, and they still keep him in jail after this. This fucked up shit. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So anyway, page 11. Where did I leave off? All right, up until this point, that is up here. Oh yeah, I do not recall him telling me about that. No, about the missing. Yeah, so he doesn't. He's saying that he doesn't know about the things that he brought to this meeting. You know, the missing poster of Teresa. That he had a photo of Teresa's website laid on the table that I didn't know about. That he had photos of Teresa's family. I didn't know about that. Okay, he had a photo of a dead end sign on the Avery property, and he had told Brendan that it was the last thing that she saw, and told him that it was pretty pro. I know what that word's supposed to mean. I can't say it. I don't know why. My mind's just not letting me. Okay, I don't recall anything like that. That there was a bow and a picture of that bow on a tree near her house. That's the ribbon, the blue ribbon. I didn't know anything about that. Okay, there are 2 pieces of ribbon from Teresa's church there. Unaware of that. You were aware of that? Not aware of that. You're not aware of that. Okay. That there were photos of Stephen's trailer, bedroom and hallway. I do not recall that specifically, but there was a sort of thing I would have expected him to, in terms of discovery that he had from the state, that he had access because of me, see? Sure, and for the same reason, I suppose it wouldn't surprise you that he had a photo of the RAV4. Right, that would make sense. Okay. Were you aware that also on the table there was a laptop that he pointed to as probably one of the first things that he did, and pointed to it and told Brendan that he had failed the polygraph test? See, that was during the thing. Well, I knew that he had the laptop with him. I didn't know that he was going to display the polygraph results, and as I indicated on Friday, I believe I told the results were inconclusive, so that would have been something I didn't know. He said, okay, from the...
Well, I mean, he's supposed to be Brendan's bloody lawyer.
Yeah, he's supposed to be Brendan's lawyer. He should have been there.
So, not only that, he should have checked the details of that polygraph test. Questioned O'Kelly. You got a description, right? How does that work, right? If the zigzaggy line it goes up, does that mean he's lying? And if it's a straight line, does that mean that he's telling the truth? To get it so that he could say that where does he get that it was inconclusive? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He passed it. The Wayne passed that bloody lie detector test. And for them to turn around and tell him that he didn't is disgusting.
Yeah. And like I said before, I think O'Kelly is very incompetent in lie detector tests. So for all we know, Brendan could have been really inconclusive, because I don't trust O'Kelly with anything, right?
No. I mean, that's maybe
how do we know that it was all bullshit? You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean, what we might need to look into is how long was he supposedly have been this expert in the polygraph testing?
Yeah.
You know, if he's only done it for a few years or whatever, then you could maybe forget the idiocy of it. But if he's done it for like 10, 20 years, then there is no excuses for his behaviour, the way he treated Brendan. You know what I mean? He should have known better if he's done this longer than 20 years to turn around and tell somebody that they failed a polygraph test.
Yeah. So continuing on. So either Mr. O'Kelly would have lied to you about the results, which I think he did, or would have lied to Brendan about the result of the polygraph tests. Objection. This witness has already indicated that he hasn't seen the tape and didn't know there was a tape. So a lot of the accusations attributed to Mr. O'Kelly are hearsay at this particular point, beyond scope of the witness acknowledged because he said, I didn't see the tape. Which is true. The day before, they already discussed it, so I'm not really sure why he's bringing it up again on day 2. Other than, I don't know, maybe there's more to a point to it that we haven't seen yet. So Dvorak says, I'm just asking if he was aware of those things, and if he was, my follow-up question was going to be, would he have approved of those things? I can end it. It'll get a tie-up later, or else I can play the tape right now. And he can identify Mr. Kelly. He can identify Brendan, and then we can take it from there. The court, it's up to you. Dvorak, all right, let's play the tape then. Or, how is this witness going to authenticate something they haven't seen? I'll get it tied up later with this O'Kelly judge. Fallon. Well then, counsel, I guess my question is just ask the witness, would you have approved that, the tactics I just discussed? Okay, and let's move on, all right? You can have Mr. O'Kelly when he gets here. I think that's fair. I thought he was objecting to me doing that. Maybe I misunderstood. Fallon, it's the phrasing of the questions. He said, okay. Would you have approved of it, Mr. O'Kelly, doing the tactics as any of the tactics I have described up to this point? And then the answer is, it's a rather broad question. I would not have approved of lying to Mr. Dassey about the result of the polygraph. I certainly would not have, certainly would have approved of showing him basic crime scenes sort of photos. Those weren't crime scene photos. Only the bedroom, the hallway, and Stephen's trailer, but I mean, those technically aren't crime scene. He's not saying here's crime scene. He's saying here's Stephen's trailer. I don't know. I don't know anything else specifically. It's kind of a broad question. And he said, okay. Well, were you aware that in this interrogation of Mr. O'Kelly, that throughout it, Mr. O'Kelly conveyed the impression that he had superior knowledge about the case, that he knew Brendan was guilty, and that any other than admissive of involvement would not be acceptable? Damn, that he would not believe it. I would. The question is, would I have approved that, or did I know about that? And he said, yeah. Well, for example, let me give you an example. You said, I know everything I need to know except for 2 things. Are you sorry and willing to do it again? And then in reference to his previous statement, he said, I know that the previous survey that was filled out at the polygraph part that you had referred to moments ago, that he said he knew that was a lie. The question is, and then he says, the question is, would you have approved of the tactic that where Mr. O'Kelly claims to have superior knowledge of his guilt and would not allow Brendan and would not accept any statement from Brendan than any other that he was involved in this? See, it's pretty excuse my language, it's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, it is. To me, that wee bit there is that O'Kelly was trying to do a bit of
I just want to point out before we get into this, So basically, just before we really get into this and dissect this whole part here, his answer is, I certainly wanted just to answer that. I certainly wanted Mr. O'Kelly to convey to Brendan the facts of the case, and that the evidence would lead any jury to find that he was guilty based on what he had. That I suppose implies superior knowledge of the events to what Brendan had told us at that point. And as to whether or not being acceptable, I guess I wouldn't have really strong opinion one way or another. I mean, that was acceptable. It was never Brendan ultimately came to. What was acceptable is ultimately he hadn't proceeded in the case to the point where what you would call a final answer to whether we were going to pursue a plea innovations or whether they were going to prepare for trial. So I was looking to kind of come to a point in the case once we knew all that the evidence would be, it would be admissible at trial, where that was going to convince Brendan that we ought to be seeking a plea agreement or whatever, or whether in spite of that, it was his desire to prepare for trial that the confession wasn't true. So we were looking, and that happens, of course, in almost any type of criminal case. Another tactic that he used that I'm wondering if you could feel is appropriate for your client is that he asked him a series of questions and repeatedly told Brendan, this is a lot of stuff. I thought it would be quick, shorter. And repeatedly told Brendan that he couldn't help him if he lied. And by that, he meant if he stuck by his story that he was only by the fire. And that Michael O'Kelly repeatedly told him that he would spend the rest of his life in prison. Oh, that was the question. Okay, I thought he was telling that. Okay, my bad. So back it up a bit. So he's basically saying that he was okay with the way O'Kelly was handling it, as far as making it clear to him that anything that he said that they felt wasn't the truth was not acceptable, and that even though Brendan was free to say what he wanted to say, he still, if he admitted to being a guilt, which they strongly believed that he was guilty, it would be better for him.
But the thing is they wouldn't let the Wayne tell them the truth.
They wouldn't.
Because every time Brendan went to say the truth or write the truth, he was getting told he was a liar and that it wasn't true. And he'd tell the truth and everything like that, because the Wayne stuck to his story and said for the beginning that he got off the bus, he walked up the road, he went to his house, he played the computer with his brother for a wee while, then he went to Stephen's, and then he went back home. And when that Wayne was writing down, I came off the bus, I walked up the road, I played video games, so he's like, no, Brendan, now that's not true, is it?
Yeah.
And that is the truth, because that's all the Wayne knows.
Yeah. Of course, he's absolutely no involvement in any of this. So to him, that's the truth. But, and O'Kelly is obviously setting him up for, you have to confess no matter what. And if you say that you're not guilty, then you're a liar. And we all know you're a liar, and you're going to jail for the rest of your life, so you might as well just confess. I can't imagine being in Brendan's situation and basically being saying, you're crazy, you're guilty, you're guilty, you're guilty, you're guilty. There's nothing that you can say otherwise that will prove to us. People were working for you, by the way. These people are supposed to be working for him. Yeah,
exactly. His own lawyer, his own lawyer is asking him to take a bloody plea deal. You know what I mean? Where is that having any faith in Brendan's innocence? You know what I mean? It's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. They had that Wayne guilty for the start because they were going after Stephen. When they got Stephen, they should have left Brendan alone. Yeah. But they, as I say, they couldn't, because he cracks his press conference, and he should have got pulled down the coals for that press conference, because that was breaking ethical laws that a lawyer has. You know what I mean? They're not supposed to give you information like that. They're only supposed to give you certain bits and let other information come to him. But what he said in that press conference tainted the jury, tainted everybody round about Brendan. Like, looking at it, probably would have been on every channel, on every local news station and everything like that. So the Wayne had no chance.
Well, can I just ask everybody who's in chat, if you really think that he had a defense, put a 1. If you think he had prosecution, both sides, put a 2. You know what I'm saying? Because his lawyers worked for the fucking state. Ain't no doubt about it. You got to be a stupid fool with your head in a cement block down 3,000 feet in the earth to not see that.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Sorry, we got some bikes right by me. And we all know.
I was wondering what that was. It sounded
very clear.
It sounded like a washing machine.
Yeah, see, nobody agrees. Nobody thinks he had defense.
I was just gonna say, are you sitting on top of your dryer or washing machine?
No. I'm waiting. My daughter's
That's what it sounded like. It
Yeah, I'm
sounded
on
like
the
It did,
Harley.
yeah.
I'm telling you right
It
now.
sounded like you're on spin cycle there.
Well, no. Y'all know how I felt about the bike set rally. So then it was right out the window here, and I had to be right next to it when it was going on. So anyway,
Yeah.
nobody thinks he had a defense. I totally agree with everybody. Brendan wasn't allowed to get rid of his dodgy legal. Yeah, you're right. When did that ever happen? Because the judge didn't give him a fair chance to communicate his reasoning.
So
everything was against Brendan. Yes, it was. You're certainly right.
So we made it to page 18 so far. So we're gonna go ahead and stop here and go ahead and continue with. We're gonna do Q&A. Q&A, everybody.
Well, just with the comment that Londoner that you've got up the new with Londoner, yeah, it wasn't even that. The judge didn't believe him, and the only reason Kaczynski got kicked off eventually was the fact that the judge found out that Brendan was questioned in one of the interviews and the lawyer wasn't there. I mean, even if the judge did give Brendan a chance to communicate his reasoning of why he didn't want Kaczynski anymore, there is no way that Wayne was brave enough.
Well, let's just put it this way, yeah.
To say anything like that, you know what I mean? The judge is an authoritative figure, you know, and he's not wanting to sound like he's cheeky or he's disrespectful or anything like that by saying, this man is a useless piece of shit and I don't want him on my team anymore. You know what I mean? And there's no way the Wayne, I don't think he thought he could have or had the courage to be able to portray that.
Well, he said straight out, Alice, he thinks I'm guilty. What fucking judge is going to say, oh, I don't see a problem here? Huh?
Yep. Exactly.
I don't see a breakdown in communication. Excuse me? The guy thinks I'm guilty. He's doing nothing but, you don't see this pattern here. See, now that's just what I mean. They see the things laying out, okay? And it's yes, it's sporadic. Kaczynski can handle his clients any way he wants. If he only wants to see him 4 times before a fucking major life-changing trial, I guess the judges can't really interfere with that. But the only thing they see wrong in this post-conviction is that Len Kaczynski was missing on that February 27th or 28th interview. That's what they see, and that's it. They don't see that polygraph taker is setting up something that the prosecution would. Okay, so you get your bang for your buck here because this guy's only charging you $300. The rest is $5, and he performs prosecutor duties and a lie detector, and he's the liar himself. So that's even 3 for 1. Just what the fuck you got going on here? You know what I'm saying? All these things are against Brendan, and they are all things in my eyes that are breaking his civil rights.
Oh yeah. Brendan's civil rights was done for the beginning.
Yeah.
Right for the beginning, because nobody for the teachers in the school, to the lawyers, to the courts, nothing. Every single one of them that was supposed to be there to protect and serve Brendan did not.
Yep, you're right. Brendan spoke the best way he could. He was shut down by a corrupt system. Exactly. And exactly what you're saying here, Susan. You are so right. Brendan told the judge that Lynn thought he was guilty. The judge did not think that was a good enough reason to take him off the case. Well, you know what? That is all the reason you need. And guess what? You don't even need a reason. Yeah, it's the person you have, whether they're court given or not. You have the right to say, this guy's not got my best interest. I don't like him. Anything if you want a new lawyer, you should be able to get one at a drop of a hat. There are so many, it doesn't matter. If you don't like the way the guy fucking wears his shoelaces, you could say, I don't want him as a lawyer. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. If you do not want him, you should not have him.
Yeah.
That was the most, I think out of all of this, to me, that was always the most shocking, because he said he thinks I'm guilty. And the judge's answer was, well, I'm going to deny that motion because I don't think there's been a major breakdown of communication. Yeah,
He just didn't believe him.
Right there between Brendan and you. He said, I think he thinks I'm guilty, and you don't see that. So, whoa, that right there to me is enough.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they just did not believe him.
Right.
No matter what that Wayne said, whether it was to Liger or Aspender or O'Smalley or the judge, they did not believe that Wayne, even though they were trying him as an adult, which an adult is supposed to understand what's going on in the proceedings and everything like that. They didn't think of him other than that, you know what I mean? They didn't think that he had respect for the law and his lawyers and everything like that, so was going to believe what they were saying and supposed to be in his best interest. So no wonder he became wary of people and everything like that in the beginning, the lawyers letting him down and everything like that, you know? Because I probably would have been the same if the same happened to me.
Oh, yeah. Well, like we said, Brendan is not one. He's just, you got to remember, he's a kid. And in court, they tried to make him look like a man by using words as sir and things like that, you know, because he is
Mr.
a boy.
Dassey.
There are so many adults that do not understand the Miranda rights as it is.
Mm-hmm.
So you think a 16-year-old kid with too many words in a sentence, he cannot understands the Miranda right? No, I don't think so. Especially if you're raised to be respectful, and he's an adult and you need to respect your elders. That is the way you're raised. Most people anyway, unless you're raised in a barn with the doors wide open and cows freely running, you have that set in your head. That was Brendan. And I was just going to ask that Londoner, what is the thing that stands out in your head the most about Brendan's trial? And the Londoner says, Brendan's note to the judge retracting his confession always stands out in my mind. It is heartbreaking.
Yeah, I mean, just the balls that it took that laddie to get up on that stand and say everything that they got out of me was false. You know, the amount of courage that took for Brendan to do that. When I seen that on the documentary, I was like, go on yourself, wee man. You know what I mean? Because no many suspects will take the stand and everything like that. But he got up there and he told them his truth. And his truth was he never done it. What he said to the police was false and everything like that. But the thing was already tainted because of what Kratz done on the 1st of March.
Yeah. Exactly. Everything stands out to me. Everything Brendan went through was wrong. Carrie 100% agree. That is Carrie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm getting it. But yeah, it does. I mean, what is it for you, Becca? I mean, I know you've been in the case the longest. I mean, almost 6 years for you. So, and I know the connection is because of your being close to Brendan's age, and there's a lot of variables there. But I mean, in his trial, you know, for me, that guilty thing, him saying that, not getting a new lawyer, and the fact that O'Kelly lied about the lie detector, them are my two worst things. Okay, but
the worst thing the worst thing that happened to Brendan during all of this. Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah.
It's so hard to answer because it's like everything. It's just like the whole thing is just so hard. And I think if I had to absolutely choose something that was the hardest to wrap my mind around, it's just the loneliness that he was 16 years old sitting in a prison cell alone. And nobody was there. I mean, his mom and dad, you know, family were there, but in essence, he really was just alone.
Yeah.
Like he couldn't get a hug from his mom or dad. You know, he couldn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you know, like like that he would
Years
like
and years.
a person
He
from that
didn't-
has never seen a person or a cow ever in their life, don't even know what one is, and putting it in front of them, and you're just like, whoa, what is this? He's like, whoa, what is this? Prison,
I think
right?
just the feeling of like having the whole world against you and being made out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. God, I can't imagine that. I really can't. Well, like I said before, I can't imagine somebody telling me that my truth are lies and my lies are true.
Still, even to this day, people, refer to him and Stephen as that. I don't know. It's just, yeah, Kim, that was really hard. We were talking. So I was aware of all that. That was hard too. That was really hard when he was packing up everything and he's all excited to go home and. He called me, I think, like a couple of days before, and then he called me like a week after that. It was, the whole, because everything in Making a Murderer too, us as supporters have been there since Making a Murderer 1. We've all witnessed all of that stuff happening as it was happening.
That was heartbreaking. Oh, fuck, that was heartbreaking.
And, so, like, watching Making a Murderer 2, was really hard because it's like revisiting all those emotions again.
I can't watch it. I can't. Yeah. Because I remember the excitement.
It's interesting.
Of the things that were going on, like when he when he was going to court, and then when Duffin had his his thing, and then the ups and downs, and really, really bad downs. I mean, you know what I mean? It was just such an emotional roller coaster. I mean,
it really was. The whole 6 years have been nothing but up and down, up and down. Because like even in like, I don't want to bring up like drama, but like case related stuff, it's just been up and down, up and down. But then the way the supporters treat each other is also the same way. So you got it's been really hard 5 or 6 years.
A lot of people walk away, but I can't walk away. I mean, how many haters there are.
No, I talk a big game about walking away, and then I can't either.
You could never do it, Becca. You couldn't.
No, I know I can't. I couldn't physically do it because I know people would tie me up before I could.
Listen, not only that, but I think the problem is deciphering somebody who really wants attention, or somebody who really just does it because they know it's right and they want to see it through to the end. Now, that's most of the people we know here. 98% of the people are. But you have that 2% of assholes that are in it for another reason, and they might be cute and shining on the outside in front of everybody else. But the way they treat some of the really, really good supporters is absolutely horrendous. Unless you've had it done to you, or if you've seen it, you ain't going to believe it anyway. So, you try to stick with that 98%, but you get those 92% or that 2% that just infiltrate their way in and manipulate and hurt. And there's really no reason for it. No reason.
Well, I mean,
we're all
for
on
me,
the same path. Doesn't matter if my path is bumpy, because maybe I like going up and down in a car. Maybe you like your smooth as hell. That's fine. Find your road.
Fudge from your anus.
Go on it. But you like your anus. Let's just put it this way. We all have different techniques, different thinking, different opinions, but our goal should always be truth and justice. And as long as you stick with truth and justice, you will not go wrong. So let them fall off our roads as they do, and we see that. And the ones that are true blue and doing it for a good reason, and because they really know it's the right thing to do, will still be on their path. Bumpy, smooth, water-filled, we don't know. It don't matter as long as we're all going to go at the end. That's all that matters.
At the end of the day, we all see the wrongs done to Stephen and Brendan and other wrongful convictions that have happened. So,
and Stephen might be an asshole, but he's wrongfully convicted.
Look, nobody's
I'm not doing
perfect
it because of his personality. I'm doing it because the law screwed him.
Nobody's perfect, Linda. None of us are perfect. Even the guilters out there that come up with the that they come up with, it's unbelievable. I mean, everybody's allowed to have their own opinion, but don't spit out a load of rubbish that you only see in the press, or you're taking for the news, or you're only taking for a documentary. I mean, because remember, we've all been duped by this documentary, you know. We've not got the brains or that to actually go and look into it and find out these kind of things and find out the wrongs and everything like that. But when it comes to Brendan is a completely different story. He was a child when this happened. And in a sense, I mean, he probably is still kind of a child, because he's not been able to grow and nurture and everything like that, like a normal 16-year-old. And he's what, 32 now? Is that right,
Yep,
Becca?
yep, you're right. Yeah. Well, he's
Yeah.
I think he's 32 or 33. Not sure.
Yeah.
He's been
So,
incarcerated for
I mean,
16 years.
yeah, if you
years,
think a normal 16-year-old or whatever, you know, they'll have been out with their pals, they'll have graduated college if they've went to college, or, you know, but they would have hung about with their pals, they would have went on holiday, they would have had life experiences. That laddie's no, you know what I mean? And it's no right, and to have been charged as an adult with no evidence whatsoever to connect that way to anything just boggles my mind that they can get away with that. It really does. You know.
Kim says, ma'am, has affected me so much. I never ever seen anything so heartbreaking in my life. I agree. And it has changed. Well, everybody on this panel has changed. I have been doing this for 3+ years, going on for probably 4 years now. Every single day, unless I'm sick or away, I'm on this social media doing something or talking about it or somewhere. Every day for the last, and so has Becca. So as I mean, you know what I'm saying? So you all get that. It has changed our ways. And
are you back with us, Becca?
2 people. There are hundreds of people that don't have documentaries, that don't have this. I mean, Brendan, how long, Becca, did he go without support from people like us? 10 years? I don't know if she can hear us. She might be.
It sounded like she came in, but was a bit guitar-y. That's. Yeah. Are you with us, Bex?
I think it's 10 years, though, that he went without large support, you know, like he gets nationwide. So whether our goal is to get them out, but we also fight for others as we do this, because it's not just about making a murderer. So everybody who says that making a murderer made me a cult leader or a cult whatever. Thank you, because I'm on the cult that wants justice for everybody been wrongfully convicted.
Yeah.
You know, you can never get the years of your life back, because guess what? They don't say when you're exonerated, oh, you can go back and be 21 now. Okay, we'll flip it back into our time zone. You can go back to 21 and get everything that you missed. Sorry,
I mean, Londoner says Brendan's note to the judge retracting his confession always stands out in my mind. Heartbreaking. Yeah, that was heartbreaking when I heard that and seen that letter to the judge. You know, but I mean, the being the same judge, I mean, that's what I can't get over either. I mean, that doesn't happen in the UK. I mean, I'll need to double check on that, but that doesn't happen in the UK. The same judge that gave you the conviction is the same judge that looks at your appeal. That's just wrong.
Yeah,
you know, that's just because they're not going to turn around and say, oh, wait a wee minute here, I got it wrong the first time, right, we'll just reverse that. There's no way they're going to do that. You know what I mean? Are you back with us, Becca?
Yeah, here.
Are you with us?
You're a bit guitar-y.
I want to read the comments here, because we've asked them to make comments, you know, for this Q&A. So I'm going to read Londoners. It's impactful because it could happen to anyone. Could be your children dragged out of school and locked away for life. Yes.
Yeah.
And Angie Dickinson says, same with me. I have watched MAM over and over, and I followed so many YouTubes to hear the research and understand more. It really has affected me, and I've told many people about it. Thank you. Keep the words of their name in your mouth and out into someone else's ears. Same
Yeah,
judge
just keep
would
saying
never
their
have
name.
been allowed. You know what? You're from the UK, I think, Kim. Isn't she, Alice? She's UK.
Yes.
She says it
Yes.
would never have been. That is something we desperately need to change. Is the person you're going for saying that you're wrongfully convicted cannot be the same convicting judge. That doesn't make sense.
No. That was one of the main things. Not only the fact that the people that were supposed to protect Brendan from the bottom to the top did not protect him, but the fact that the same judge that convicted him in the first place, that isn't going to admit to any wrongs that he might have done, that he might see, he's just going to be like, oh, right, okay, I got that wrong, right, but well, no, I'm still sticking to my conviction, then that is wrong, because he's not biased. He's not looking at it impartially. He's not looking at it with a different set of eyes. You know what I mean? Because judges are human and all, and they do get things wrong. You know, but that's the problem.
Because it makes their job. It makes them look like they're an incapable judge. That's why. Because they are not credible, or they're capable of handling courtroom situations. So they're not going to admit that.
No, they're not going to admit that they got it wrong.
No.
That's where it needs to go to somebody outside. You know, I mean, like for Luke's case, for instance, we're wanting an independent review. And in that independent review, it's a panel of people, and they look at the law, they look at the police, they look at the way they investigated it, they look at how the lawyers did it, they look at how the court proceedings went, they take it all into context, and they look at each one separately, and if they see that the police has done something wrong, i.e. a botched up investigation or anything like that, then they'll say it was a botched up investigation by the police force, or something happened in court and then they can refer it back to the appeals court and say this needs to be relooked at and everything like that, and that, so it goes to different people and different judges. It's no the same person that's looking at this, and it's no the same departments that are looking into their own departments, you know. And that's what I find strange that works over there, is that your own departments can investigate.
Yeah, they all intertwine. Somebody knows somebody. It's all the grandpa in, and you got in with this, and you got in
like your what is it? Is it your Wisconsin DOJ can investigate like Calumet, Manitowoc, Two Rivers, and things like that, but it's still Wisconsin's DOJ, you know what I mean? That's where I think it should be, like on an outskirts, like where are you from, Linda, Minnesota?
What? Yeah,
are you from Minnesota? Right. Yep. So even like, have you got your own DOJ, or is it all together?
We have our own DOJ. Let me tell you something right now. Minnesota is a forward-thinking state. We're not like Wisconsin. That's why I was so shocked, because I'm right next door. I'm within 20 minutes to go to them. And we do not have investigation without a lawyer for under 18. And our life is 20 years. We do not have life without parole. We don't have that. We do have prosecutional. There's a blanket immunity, but it only goes so far. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So far. So we are trying to change that nobody is above the law is our motto, and that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. So I mean, the way I see it is, if when your DOJ, they investigate the Wisconsin DOJ and the police forces that are involved in misconduct and things like that, then that's a separate, place altogether. So they're not going to be
integrity unit is what you're saying. You're an integrity unit, and that's exactly what I think we really need to do.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to ask Becca,
I mean, Londoner's message is away. Where did I see that? Londoner, it's impactful because it could happen to anyone. Could be our children dragged out of school and locked away for life. Yeah. definitely. It's common sense. Kim says it's common sense, surely, not to use same judge. Could defence have requested a different judge? I don't know if that happened in Stephen's case.
No.
No.
Can't happen. No.
Can it not happen?
Nope. Not unless you get, there's a big serious conflict of interest and the judge should take himself off of it. So,
yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the only way. Like Smart Duck
But
says,
when it comes
was
when
it
it comes
an appeal or post-conviction, surely an appeal gets done with the different judge.
Yeah.
You're going in front of your post-conviction appeal process isn't done in front of your judge that convicted you. Yes. And there is no, you can't.
No. There shouldn't, Londoners saying, there shouldn't even be a possibility of a conflict of interest. This entire case is literally based on conflicts of interest. Yeah, you're right, Londoner. From the very start, when Manitowoc wasn't even supposed to be anywhere near it, but they got brought in for resources. Kim says, most heartbreaking moment, part 1354, when Brendan tried looking back.
Read Kim's question at the bottom. It's the last
question. Am I right in thinking Wisconsin DA is assisting Zellner in gaining an appeal hearing? Am I right or wrong there? Read something from the Innocence Project yesterday. Becca, do you know anything about that?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, now we can hear you, yep.
Okay. Let me reread it. Thinking was custody assistance owner and gaining an appeal hearing. I'd have to read the article. It's possible that they could be assisting. I know that if she puts in certain things that they kind of have to help out a bit to like give her information and stuff like that. But I'd have to read the article that you read yesterday to really. I haven't been online yesterday. I was at work all day dealing with work stuff. So I need to catch up on that. But Kim, if you can send me that article and maybe even and then I could look into it today and give you a better answer.
Yeah.
What's the next step for Brendan's appeal? Right now, Brendan has ran out of appeals. Not appeal, but like he basically we don't know what the lawyers are doing.
Brendan has not run out of appeals. He has his 976. What Stephen is doing. See, what his lawyers did was go up federal. Boom, boom. I mean, he went to the Supreme Court stuff, but he still has options. Let's just be hopeful.
He has options, yes, but he ran out of the appeals for the last thing that they did. Brendan's lawyers are doing something right now that we don't know because they're not being public about it, which is fine and normal. And like Linda said, he has options like the 7. What number she said?
976.
She constantly says it, and I keep forgetting it. Yeah. So he has other things. That's why right now, though, they've been focusing, or the public has been focusing on Governor Evers. But they are working on something. Brendan's not allowed to talk about it. So I don't know.
So there is things happening in the background, which is a good thing.
Yeah, there are things happening in the background that Brendan's not allowed to discuss with anybody. So
yeah.
At least not on the phone.
Yeah, no, that's to be expected. I mean, I wouldn't even expect his lawyers to be doing anything. I mean, it's like KZ, when she put out that statement about the other witness and everything like that, she's got to have stuff to back that up, because she's not going to put her career on a false statement like that. You know what I mean? So it could be something along the lines, and they would be silly to show their hand, you know, especially if they're only putting things in motion and everything like that. They knew.
Yeah.
But myself, I mean, in my opinion, and I know that just because Stephen gets exonerated, it doesn't mean to say Brendan will get exonerated. But my hope is that when Stephen gets exonerated and proves that there's no evidence against him, then the same thing will happen for Brendan, because the two of them are supposed to have been done for the same crime. So if Stephen never done it, then Brendan never done it, you know, and that's my hope, even though I know that that's not how it works. But you just never know.
Have that hope. Yeah, I think we all have that hope. I think my biggest hope is that they will find the real killer, and that will free both Stephen and Brendan. But I think we all know how that may not go.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, because for one, they'll need to go after whoever it is. But two, and the main one I think is that they're not going to pursue anybody else, because they're going to be too busy fighting Stephen and Brendan for the compensation and things like that that they deserve. You know what I mean? And not only that, that means that they have to admit that they got it wrong in Brendan's case big time, and they got it wrong twice in Stephen's case big time, and that's just something that they're not going to do. So unfortunately, I don't think poor Teresa is ever going to get the justice that she deserves by somebody else taking Brendan and Stephen's place.
Yep. So if anyone has any more questions, I'm sorry that we're not great with the ones you've been asking so far, because there's a lot of unknowns and what's going on with everything. As far as currently what's going on with Brendan, I wish I had a better answer for everybody, but as far as I know, they're doing.
Sorry, Susan says the 97406 is with New Discovery.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah.
And there is.
And,
they took the bones.
And
London, everybody thinks the bones don't belong to Brendan.
Yeah.
They do. So does the bullet.
Yeah.
So,
the New Discovery could open up everything. Yes, it could, Londoner. I'm just trying to go back here a wee bit on the thing, was just to see if we've missed anything. But I think we've actually covered quite a few of the questions and that was in the chat, Becca. So I think we're all good.
Yeah. If anybody else has any other questions, you can always reach out to me, Alice, or Linda. We're always happy to help people. And like what Linda is saying, and I highlighted here, Tuesdays and Thursdays, me, Linda, and a few other Brendan Dassey supporters and researchers, we're going to be in Discord under Voice, where I call it blah, blah, blah. I might call it something else.
I like blah, blah. But that's okay.
But yeah, so every Tuesdays and Thursdays, I get home from work around 8 a.m. Arizona time, and a few other people might be in there before that. But, anytime you want to pop in and say hi, it's just a voice chat. Nothing's being recorded or anything. But if you want to ask questions, or if you have any comments, suggestions, anything like that, you just want to talk about
ideas and support,
yeah, if you just want to get to know us a little bit better, we'll all be in there. And
it's a great way. It's a really great way to get people together, and we all need each other to make a difference. So everybody matters in this case.
Yeah. And like I said, if you have any questions about anything, I may not know the answer right off the top of my head, but I will be willing to look it up for you,
or
find it
somebody else knows.
Or find somebody that does know the answer for you, because so don't be afraid to ask.
Thank you, Alice.
Kim, Londoner, things like that, come join the Discord, have a chat, find out more, as you say, ask us questions. That's how I learned the majority of the information that I've learned with the whole case. I mean, I've been on it just over 2 years now, I think, and just we accidentally going into the voice call on foul play. I
And
managed to.
You're not sorry either, or now?
No, definitely. It was the best mistake I ever done. Meeting you as lovely people, and you welcome me with open arms.
Yeah.
So, and that was how I found out my information, was to chatting to people who have been in it longer, and you know that you're getting the truth and not misinformation when you speak to the people in Discord, whether it be Brendan's Discord or Foul Play Discord. They're genuine people, and you get to know the truths. So I would encourage anybody, please join Brendan Talks Discord and come in and have a chat.
Yeah, it makes you feel more of a supporter when you see other supporters and you get to know them. It's a good feeling. So please join us.
Kim, somebody else said something recently. Kim, sorry, this is completely off topic, but somebody else said recently, a day or two, or maybe it was this morning, I saw somebody comment that something about happening next month, like they had a feeling about next month. So it must be a really good article that I'm going to have to read, because that seems to be what everyone's saying. So
I haven't read it, so I'd like to see it too.
Yeah, Kim, I think you're in my Facebook group, or even in the Discord group, if you can post a link in there and we can all share it. But yeah, that's pretty cool if that's something that's going to be happening soon.
Yeah, thank you.
But yeah, is there anything coming up for you ladies that you would like to say before we end this?
No, not at the moment. Just thanks for having me on, Becca and Linda. You know, I'm always glad to be here. And Foul Play are doing the Brendan's trial readings. I think Zoe's going to put day 6, I think it is, out tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central, which I'm afraid will be midnight here if I've got my times correct. These blimmin' time zones I still can't get used to.
Yeah, they're hard to get used to. All right, well, I just want to say, if anybody hasn't seen it yet or heard about it, Jinx has started her channel up and she's got a couple videos on. And if you haven't yet, please go subscribe and hit that bell so you won't miss any of her stuff, because she's trying to debunk some of the real big rabbit holes we've all been down and save some of the newbies some things. She's very factual, well-spoken, very clear, and it'd be great for her to get that channel built up. And other than that, doing the same thing, waiting for my intro video from Becca, the best.
Yeah, I'm going to be working on that tonight. I'm going to be taking a nap after this, but
everybody have a wonderful week, please.
What's coming? Yeah, other than Friday coming up, and with Positively Brendan, and then we're going to resume more of this next Sunday. So yeah, and you might be seeing me, like I always say, you might be seeing me throughout the week. I might pop on and do a quick live here and there. So
yeah, I'm thinking about doing that too. No topic, just getting on. But we'll see.
Yeah, well, you should. But yeah,
I haven't been on. But
I'll either see you guys in Discord, or I'll see you guys online. But either way, thank you for joining us.
Take care.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry guys.
We're still on.
All right.
There have been so many people out there who watched.
I was going to say, I'm trying to do the outro thing that I'm really doing. It's not doing it.
It's not
so I'm just going to end it. All right. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.